Skrill boys, TGTM, it's tomorrow's Christmas Day. Merry Christmas, everyone, and welcome back to another Skrill Boys TGTM Vids video. I'm coming to you on Christmas Day. Don't worry, my family's downstairs talking, and they're having a wonderful time. So, let's talk about Christmas movies, shall we? Everyone's got their favorite Christmas movie. While some prefer their Home Alone, or they have their Santa Claus, or maybe are more modern and will take Klaus, or maybe we'll go in the more whimsical route with Muppet's Christmas Carol or Mickey's Christmas Carol. And even if it pains me so, the polar elf, I hate that movie. But there's one movie that is tied to this holiday I love so much. That is, for lack of a better term, a Christmas anomaly. And that film is The Polar Express. So, what's weird about the film? Well, a little background first. And coincidentally enough, we have to start with the book version first. Yeah, to those of you who may be not in the know, The Polar Express is a book adaptation, although it's an adaptation of a children's book by Christopher, sorry, Christopher Van Allsbury. Hope I said that right. He was a kid growing up in Michigan, and and when he was and when he went to Michigan State football games, he noticed an engine parked outside the stadium. Number 1225 Pierre Marquette. That engine always stuck with him in his mind, and well, when he was older, he published a children's book called The Polar Express, where the Pierre Marquette was the inspiration for the signature train. Of course, the children's book did wonders. It was practically a bestseller, and I've even had the joy of reading it as a kid. But that didn't mean that that was my first introduction to something called the Polar Express. You know how Hollywood works. In 2002, it was officially announced that the Polar Express would be going to the big screen in a animated adaptation. The film released in November of 2004 to modest reviews, but most of them would be mixed. But audiences generally loved the film, and Roger Ebert gave the film a 4-star rating. Many years later, it is a Christmas classic and is a tour de force that I've had the pleasure of watching every Christmas Eve as far back as I can remember. It's basically a film that we have to watch on Christmas Eve. No other film will do. Well, Christmas film. But strangely enough, many YouTubers, many YouTubers have simply just written off the Polar Express as just a weird 2000s nostalgia ride. Brush it off as nothing more than just, oh, it's just a stupid film that with a weird art style. It's nothing good. Let's watch Elf. First of all, that hurts. Second of all, you're missing out. So, grab an ice block, why don't you? Now, What makes this movie so special that it could be ranked among the best of Christmas films, such as Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, A Charlie Brown Christmas, um, oh yeah, and the other films I mentioned previously? Well, first we have to talk about why it is a Christmas anomaly. And it's, I mean, it's pretty obvious. Well, let's get into that obvious reason. Well, gee, wonder what it is. Okay, so it's no surprise that this film uses the then is still in its infancy motion capture animation. This film, yeah, it does look weird in some areas, but for most of the time that I've usually watched the film, I've never really been bothered by it, especially when the more obvious parts of it show. By that I mean the errors in it. Now, sure, it's very, very well not uncommon for a Christmas film to look weird. In fact, most Christmas films in the 2000s looked weird. I'm looking at you, Santa Claus, too. And the Polar Express was a anomaly in this, in that it is, as far as I know, the first film to use the motion capture technology for the entire duration of it. Of course, this can mainly be attributed to the Lord of the Rings films and the use of motion capture in those films with Golem. After all, Warner Brothers did make this film, so wouldn't be surprised if they decided to go the mocap route because of Golem. Actually, to think of it, we can also just trace mocap back to Jurassic Park because they had this digital dinosaur input device that acted as a motion capture stop motion puppet. So yeah, you can kind of blame Jurassic Park for how the Polar Express was made. But does that detract from my viewing experience and others' viewing experience? What do you think, Sherlock? Okay, it's pretty obvious that I still watch the Polar Express, even though I know it looks kind of weird. Many people who watch it every year know it looks weird. But why did they choose this instead of go with something that I think would actually be more, well, favorable? But you see, the reason why the mocap looks weird is because the characters look like they're trying to be painterly drawings, but also trying to emulate real life. You see, even though it's not said, or I haven't looked too deeply into it because there are behind the scenes reels of the Polar Express, and definitely there is some bonus bonus segments on the actual DVD that I have, but it's just, well, they were trying to go for a children's book aesthetic with the animation. I'm sorry, you're about 14 years late for that. Uh, no, no, not late, early, because Spider Verse kind of pioneered that technology. But I applaud them for trying, even though it looks weird. Very, very weird. Anyways, that's not the point of this video. Why is this film such an anomaly? Well, mainly it's because of its motion capture technology. Of course, 5 years later, there would be another motion capture Christmas film, but this time it would look much more realistic and would this time be based on a much more timeless Christmas book, that being Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. And and Jim Carrey played Scrooge, who played the Grinch 9 years earlier in the 2000 How the Grinch Stole Christmas movie. Yeah, it's a weird hellhole. But I really find this interesting because the Polar Express underneath that weird animation is a genuinely heartwarming story. It's a story about whether we choose to believe in Santa Claus. It's very unique in a way in that it doesn't really focus on family or Santa or any famous holiday commodity tradition holiday movie. Well, but any plot points a holiday movie would try. Instead, it tries to make some new plot points by actually, well, by actually asking the question, what if what if someone didn't believe in Santa Claus but wants to find proof of it? Well, this movie is sort of a way to dispel disbelievers or turn disbelievers into believers. The Polar Express does this. I honestly think that this movie has the most unique random Christmas plot. Well, plot for a Christmas movie that I've ever heard of. And I love it. It's just something about the movie story, the songs, the world, and of course, its depiction of the North Pole. Well, I think it's kind of charming. But there's always going to be that mocap aspect about it that will keep it from being a true Christmas classic. But what if it didn't have that weird style? What if it took a page out of the films of old, specifically animated films? It still had the live actor aspect, but instead of using motion capture, it used something completely different: 2D animation mixed with 3D animation. Now, this is the sauce that the Polar Express was missing. And, yeah, I really think I would have went with it as a kid. It's no secret that Disney was very much in their experimental era during the 2000s. And, well, I mean, like, it was pretty cool. You see, in this era, they decided for their 2D animated films, to use CGI, but of course, make it look like 2D animation. The resorts were for the most part, gorgeous, especially with Treasure Planet and Lilo and Stitch. And I really think the Polar Express could have benefited from it if it actually went with that style. Plus, it would honor the art from the book more respectfully. And I truly do think that the set pieces that need to be 3D can be 3D. They still can have a 3D model based off the pure marquette and have some other stuff to make sure with that. Of course, if they blend it just correctly, well, I think that film could have been something more. But let's not just stop there. Let's also talk about some of the inconsistencies that there are. First of all, the bizarre abuse of the pure marquette. The train of the Polar Express, well, let's just say, is it would have not survived that roller coaster scene. Well, I feel like that it could easily just be rewritten as that ice has as they're going up another big hill, but there's ice on the tracks and the brake is broken. As well as just having some genuine fix-ups in the cab and in the cab of the locomotive and many other things. But then of course there's that stupid ice scene. And while it could be made realistic, I think that it could just be simply as explained as a fjord, or that there is usually a trestle bridge here, considering that the ice on the tracks leading to the fjord over lake, there are tracks going into it. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities that there was indeed a small little trestle bridge over this little this little lake. Well, it's not little, it's really big. But also, I think it's not also out of the question to, for the love of God, not stretch out the engine and its coaches. I mean, good God, do you see what it did on that hill? It was Elastigirl for a second. Also, some just genuine plot holes for a little bit is that there's a statue of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer when they arrive at the North Pole. However, it's not there. Well, but the real deal himself is not there, so why you do me dirty like that? Add my boy Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And plus, you can make the reindeer unique and actually have them be expressive. Maybe even have them talk, but that's kind of stretching it. And what else is there? Oh, yes, names for the actual characters. I don't know what you could name any of these characters. They're just known by just like a title. Of course, the conductor is the excuse, as well as the hobo. But you gotta have names for the know-it-all kid, the hero boy, and I don't know, the girl. We do get one of the kids' names, however, and it's the boy who almost got left behind, Billy. Although it possibly just could be, well, it could just be said earlier in the film. That's just really nitpicks of mine, but also there could be a much more deeper message here. In that well, you're not too old to believe in something very childish. You're never too old to be a child, could be the message of this movie. That could be a genuine message that really could resonate with a lot of people. It's there in the movie, but it's not really clear. But could it have helped? Yeah, sure. but mainly the 2D animation could have helped this film exceed its expectations. Or better yet, have some big studio that's not Warner Brothers reanimate the film to actually be a 2D animated film with the 3D stuff. You can still have the same audio, maybe you have some additional scenes. Like it could be a 20th anniversary edition of the film, or 30th, or 25th, I don't know. But I like The Polar Express. I like it the way it is. It's my favorite Christmas movie, and though that sounds obligatory, considering that I like Klaus and The Nightmare Before Christmas is genuinely a goated animated film. There's just something special about the Polar Express, in my opinion, that it holds a candle to some of those classics. But I think I speak for most of everyone when I say it's a Christmas movie. As long as it's a Christmas movie that everyone agrees on and they can enjoy on the night of the 24th, yeah, you're going to have a good time. So, let's get to my final thoughts on the Polar Express. This anomaly of a Christmas film.
Now, as for my overall thoughts on the film, well, I'm watching it right now. It's a wonderful odd film. I like Misfits. Kind of like Misfits and Rudolph, but that's nor here nor there. So, I love the movie. It's got a beautiful message, even though it's got weird visuals. Definitely got weird visuals. But I just believe. Yeah, got a bell. Well, not the bell, just a bell. And, oh yeah, right. Let's outro this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me in the algorithm. And share this video with your peers. Make a great Christmas gift from. Maybe not, but. And remember, long live the Skrills. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New